Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini episode, I have two very bizarre articles, folks. I have one story involving basically ancient Egypt and aliens, and another, this not deer man that was seen by a witness that truly perplexed and upset him. Let's get into the first article. Did human-like aliens see ancient Egypt? My personal encounter, remote viewing, and the Nile Delta connection. Let's get into it now. For years, I kept parts of this account close because it sits at the intersection of personal experience, remote viewing, and a theory of human origins that many people will reject outright. What I was shown during my encounters suggested that Earth's ancient civilizations, especially Egypt, may have been shaped by direct intervention from non-terrestrial intelligences. That sounds phenomenal, folks, and something we've talked about before. So, let's get into this article and hear this account of this man being shown things beyond normal human ken. After decades of research, investigation, and personal experience, I came to believe that a major interaction between Earth's inhabitants and otherworldly beings occurred sometime between the 13th and 12th millennia BC. I do not believe it was the first or only contact, but I do believe it was among the most influential. That conclusion did not come from theory alone. It developed through several remote viewing sessions and 3 personal encounters with what I describe as tall grays, including one lost time event that I still regard as an abduction. During these experiences, I was shown what appeared to be a historical scenario. I witnessed a colossal disc-shaped craft descend and land in the region of the present day Nile River Delta. At that time, the impression I received was that the area was surrounded by the prehistoric Mediterranean and that the craft itself was later transformed into a massive island-like structure. From that point, I was shown the beginning of a great empire that spread across the surrounding land and people. The beings associated with that craft became the rulers, and their knowledge was passed into the region. I was also given the impression that their bloodline was mixed with the native population. So, these tall grays are also able, apparently, to interbreed with humans, apparently? Or were they some other variant of alien being? The Pleiadians? But remember, our witness or experiencer says that they were the tall grays, or the ones who gave him this information was. So, I would love to know if the aliens who actually came down, did they look human, or did they look like, well, the grays at all? In particular, were they the tall grays? I would love to know if he has any information on that as well, folks. So far, very enlightening. This is also something we've talked about before, folks, where apparently people believe that aliens had some hand in the creation of ancient Egypt, or at the very least, they somehow influenced this ancient civilization, folks. But let's read on now and see where this goes. During the encounter, the beings communicated to me that that this empire served as a nexus for several dominant and lesser civilizations. The first thing that came to mind was Atlantis, and I asked them directly if that was what I was being shown. I received no answer. That silence has always stayed with me. I saw representations of multiple cultures developing over long stretches of time. Some were brief impressions, others appeared as mighty empires, but all of them seemed connected in one way or another to the occupants of that original craft. There was a strong emphasis on ancient Egypt. I was shown a civilization emerging from disorder into structure and power, one that appeared deeply influenced by extraterrestrial beliefs and by repeated intervention over thousands of years. The scene that affected me most involved Egypt's 18th dynasty. I was shown what I interpreted as a profound encounter during the reign of Amenhotep III, one that deeply affected the royal family and priesthood. I came away believing that Amenhotep the third interpreted this experience as a divine validation of his own status in opposition to the power of Amun and the priesthood. His son, Amenhotep IV, later Akhenaten, seemed to absorb that lesson and push it further, establishing a focused devotion to Aten, which I have long suspected may have represented an alien intelligence, an alien presence, or even a craft. Over time, what I was shown changed how I looked at human history. I came to believe that our past is intertwined with extraterrestrial beings and that modern humans may represent a genetic extension or manipulated branch of otherworldly species. I also came to suspect that many so-called alien entities encountered today may actually be biologically enhanced and evolved humans, either from our deep past or from our future. Indeed, folks, that is a startling idea. Is it possible that aliens engineered us. Indeed, folks. Did they create us? Or is it possible that basically alien beings that are also being seen are us from the future or from the past? I don't know. But all I can say is, indeed, it's a phenomenal idea and gives you food for thought about what is actually possible, folks. I do think that there are alien beings out there, folks. And I do believe that there are humans out there as well. I mean, I really do believe that we might be a seedling civilization, folks, or a population basically of humans that may be immigrated here from another planet. It could be possible. Either way, let's continue. My personal encounters with the tall grays made all of this harder to dismiss. In late 2015, after my wife had passed, I experienced what I still consider a direct abduction event. Before that, I had already seen these beings twice in my home. They were extremely tall, thin, pale, and standing beside my recliner, they appeared silently watching me and vanished. During the abduction event, I found myself in what looked like a dark interior chamber with a large screen or display in front of me. The same three beings stood behind me and communicated through what I can only describe as clear mind speak in English. They showed me scenes from history and conveyed their interpretation of what had happened. When I woke, it was near dawn. I had gone from roughly 2 o'clock a.m. to around 5:30 or 6 o'clock a.m. with no sense of the passage of time. Even now, I do not regard it as a dream. It was too coherent, too structured, and too vivid. Indeed, folks. Is it possible this man was abducted by these alien beings during this communication? It's feasible, but let's save off on this question until after we finish off the rest of the story. I also include in this account a question that has lingered with me for years. If a civilization in the Nile region was influenced or founded by celestial visitors, could something similar have happened elsewhere? That is why I raised the Dropa story. I wondered whether another intervention, or at least another tradition, of remembered contact might have occurred in the Far East. Whether that specific story is true is another matter, but the larger question remains open in my mind. Indeed, folks, was he abducted by these alien beings? During this communication to him, folks, did they do anything to him? Did they leave an implant in him or something? As well as the fact that we have to basically take his side of things, into account. Because maybe it's possible that not only Egypt could have been founded by alien beings, but maybe they founded other civilizations across the planet as well, folks. It could be possible. I just don't know yet because we need more information. Either way, folks, it's a phenomenal idea. But let's move on to the next article, folks, which is truly bizarre as well. We have the Tappahannock, Virginia deer man encounter. Ghosts hunters report deer with a human face. And from the sounds of it, folks, it sounds like a truly horrifying story. Because you can see from the picture used for, this video, if you encountered a human-faced animal, it would terrify you. But let's read on and see exactly how all of this exactly happened. In early 2006, 4 college-age friends were driving the back roads near Tappahannock, Virginia, looking for a rumored haunted site called Preacher's Rest. What they expected was a late-night ghost hunt. What 2 of them say they found instead was something far stranger, a deer-shaped animal with twisted legs and the face of a human man. And from the sounds of it, folks, that sounds horrifying. Here's the case file. Location, rural roads near Tappahannock, Essex County, Virginia. Time frame, early 2006, late night. Witnesses, 4 total. 2 directly observed the primary anomaly. Primary description, a deer-like animal with twisted or malformed legs and the face of a human man. Secondary detail, Basset Hound puppy observed at the exact same roadside location on Return Pass. Setting, wooded rural road near a locally rumored haunted site called Preacher's Rest. Encounter type, roadside anomalous entity, possible mimic or shapeshifter presentation. Witness reaction, immediate fear, mutual shock, refusal to stop vehicle on a Return Pass. Status, unexplained, and yeah, I agree with that, folks. How do you explain this? What was this entity? It could be a malformed deer, I suppose, folks, maybe with some sort of disease. But to have a human face and maybe have that face actually react to them, it sounds like maybe what they encountered could be some sort of shapeshifter, perhaps, or, something else, maybe closer along those lines. But let's read the article first and hear their story. I preface this by saying I'm a skeptic. As much as I'd like supernatural things to exist, I find it hard to believe. I'm sure there's a logical explanation for what I encountered, but that does not stop it from being the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. This happened in early 2006 when I was a student at VCU. A friend was visiting me from out of town, and we decided to go ghost hunting because those shows were popular at the time, and we were bored. A few months earlier, I had gone with some friends to a place in rural Toppahanock, Virginia, called Preacher's Rest. From what I remembered, it was an old house in the woods tied to a local story about a church fire and people dying inside. I cannot swear that was the exact legend, but that was how I remembered it. So we picked up another friend and her boyfriend, and the four of us drove out from Richmond toward Toppahanock. Once we got there, we were just driving around the empty wooded roads trying to find the place again. I had not driven there on the earlier trip, so my memory was vague. I mostly remembered a general store with a strange Elvis statue outside. Well, that's kind of strange. Why would this store have an Elvis statue? Could that basically be a sign of something, folks? It just seems like this guy girl mentions it. And our witness basically made a note of it as well, folks, because, well, to him or her, it sounded strange. I mean, this is a her we're talking about here, folks, I think. Either way, I doubt there's any real prevalence of it, but it's something to basically wonder about as well. Why an Elvis statue of all things? But let's read on with this person's story. At one point, we came upon a long, straight road, maybe a quarter mile long, that dipped in the middle and then rose back up. As we headed down toward the low point, I saw a deer standing on the opposite side of the road. I slowed down right away because I have always been nervous about hitting a deer. Its head was lowered toward the ground at first, but I could already tell something was wrong. Its legs looked misshapen, knobby, almost twisted. I remember thinking maybe it was diseased, injured, or malformed, but when we got close enough to pass it, the thing lifted its head. My friend and I both screamed. The deer had a man's face. And I can imagine that it would be something that most people would basically just outright scream in terror at, folks. As I said, it sounds like this entity is a shapeshifter. I was thinking that maybe the Elvis statue played in all this. Maybe it was inhabited, or basically it was haunted or something. And these people saw this actual demonic or shapeshifting like entity that basically resided near or maybe in the statue, folks. I was just thinking that. But that's probably not the truth. But let's read on now, because we have to hear the rest of this story. We were moving slowly enough that I got a clear look at it. This was not just a quick glance. I remember the neck seeming to turn into a human skin. The face looked like a man's face, not fur-covered, not deer-like, not something I could easily dismiss. Its eyes were wide, almost startled, like we were not supposed to be there, seeing it. I turned to my friend and yelled, "Did you see that?" He yelled back, "Yeah, it had a dude's face." The couple in the back had been arguing and missed the whole thing. We tried to explain what we had seen, but I do not think they understood how unnatural it looked. We kept driving and eventually hit a dead end, so we had to turn around and go back the way we came. By that point, everyone in the car was alert. As we approached the same dip in the road on the passenger side this time, a basset hound puppy came out of the trees right at the exact spot where we had seen the deer man. And that sounds like a lure to me, folks. That sounds like a trap. If they got out, God knows what would have happened. I doubt that they're going to do that, folks, so let's read on and see exactly what they did. The couple in the back wanted us to stop for the puppy. I refused. There was no way I was slowing down there. My immediate thought was, that is a trap. I know there are logical things people could point to. Weird lighting, disease, stress, bad angles, all of that, but I still cannot explain why, on the return pass, there was a puppy in the exact same place where we had just seen that thing. Maybe it meant nothing, maybe it was a coincidence, but I was not about to get out and find out R. Now, everyone, I believe that basset hound puppy was just a regular little puppy, folks, and I hope it's all right and that someone took care of it from that point on after finding it. But even I would not have gotten out of the car and gone over to this puppy on that night after what I had just seen. I clearly think this is also a lure or a trap, folks, and God knows, as I said earlier, what would have happened if they stopped and got out to look at this little puppy. Would it have changed into something else? Would it have just disappeared, and in its place would have been some other horrible thing? Remember, this entity sounds like other shapeshifting accounts where this entity finds itself startled and then basically either bolts or basically almost gives the impression that we should not basically be seen. So maybe this entity would have killed them if they had gone out of that car, folks. Either way, truly interesting, but we're now at the end. So please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure at the part of the bell, they'll give you all future notifications. And please, share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Until next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.